Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. My name is Johnny Freeman. I'm Pozotron's Customer Outreach Manager, here today to talk to you about our script prep tools. We did a customer survey recently, and a lot of our customers love the script prep tools, but we also found that a lot of people didn't know about them. So we're doing this webinar today to showcase all of those tools and help you get the most out of them as well. Adam, if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Fritz. I'm the CEO of Pozotron, and I'm riding shotgun for Johnny today to handle the chat and Q&A. If you do have a question, please put it into the Q&A box. I will be managing the chat, which is much easier for us to manage those questions, or you can use the raise hand button and we can call you up onto the stage as well. And thanks very much for joining today.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Okay, so we'll get started. So just an overview of what we're going to be going over today. We're going to start off with our pronunciation guide. This is a tool to help you find all of the difficult to pronounce words in your script, have some tricks to help you research them quickly. Also, the character voice guide. So this is primarily for any voices you're going to be having to do for characters in the book, whether that be fiction or nonfiction. Some tools to help you there. Our marked up script export, which is a great way to expedite the markup portion of your prep if you do that already. And then a couple of things to get into: the custom dictionary and transfer research. These are kind of extra tools that help manage your projects and help manage your research across different projects. And then finally, the scan occurrences tool we'll get into at the end. Okay, so the pronunciation guide, we developed this tool as, how can AI help you speed up the preparation process? So one thing a lot of people do is they read through the book, they put together a list of words and then spend some time on Google or other pronunciation resources to find these words, because a lot of times there's going to be made up words or words you've never heard of before. So I'll actually just jump over to Positron here. So once you upload your script, and you do that from the main page here, to use our prep tools, all you need to do is upload the script by going to create new project here, giving it a title, and then uploading the script here. That can be a PDF, EPUB, or Word document format. You don't need any audio at this point, so you just upload the script, and you'll see that project populate down here. So I'm going to hop into this project. You can see I have no audio already in the project. And I'm going to go to the pronunciation tab up at the top here. So what we do when you upload the script after it's done processing or during its processing, we're actually scanning every single word in your script. And we are trying to put together a list for you of all of the potentially hard to pronounce words. And we do that in a number of ways. But to see that list that we've put together for you, you're going to hit this Open Suggestions button right here. And you can sort this in a number of ways. I have it sorted alphabetically. But these are all of the words that Posotron found in your script that it thinks your average narrator might need help pronouncing. So what it's looking at in particular are capitalized rare words, so unique proper nouns, names of people, places, things like that. The complex words, there's kind of a two-part to that. So we actually had narrators go through a database of 150,000 words and rate them simple or complex. So any of those complex words are going to show up on this list. We also analyze the individual characters that build up the word, which Adam can explain a bit better. It's something we call trigraphs. So we're looking at combinations of letters here. And Adam, actually, yeah, if you want to explain that for them.
Yeah, one of the ways we identify these complex words is a trigraph is a 3-character combination that is part of a word, and linguists generally have rated different trigraphs as both rare and difficult to pronounce in various languages. So we use those as one of the building blocks of that complex word category. If you are working in non-English languages, we are constantly working to optimize our algorithms to improve the number of suggestions. So that's a work in progress. If you ever do see something that is a bit of a weird one, especially in non-English languages, please reach out to us because we'd love to keep making it better.
Yep, that is very valuable feedback. Thanks, Adam. We'll also look at any words not in the primary language of your script. So if you're If you uploaded an English book, any words that are recognized as not English will show up in the foreign category as well. And if you have weird numbers and things like that, it'll show these as well. So what you do with this list, what a lot of people will do is start from the top and ignore any words that they don't want to add to their list. One thing about this as well is you can ignore it, which will just delete this item from your list, but you can also ignore it from all future projects as well. So if Pozotron is suggesting a word that you never will ever need to research, you can hit this ignore word in all projects. It'll never suggest that again. So it's a great way to tailor that list even further to your vocabulary and things like that. So I'm going to ignore a couple of these words. If there's a word I have a question about, all I need to do to research it is hit this add to research list button. And Positron is going to try to find a pronunciation for you in whatever dictionary you have selected up here. So we have a few options to choose from. You can choose Oxford US, Oxford Great Britain, Forvo, and Merriam-Webster. And this will just change the first look that Positron has. So it's going to check this place first. If it finds it, it'll pull that pronunciation right here. So we can see it's found the phonetic spelling for this word, as well as a recorded pronunciation.
Abyssinia.
So that's a pretty good pronunciation. One brand new feature, which I'm really excited to show you about, is this cloud button right here. So let's say I listen to this word and I don't like that pronunciation, or nothing was found. I can click this Get Alternative Pronunciations here. And this is going to show me the results from all of our dictionaries. So you can take a look at this. You see what dictionary it's pulling this pronunciation from. Listen to each one of these recordings. And if you find one that's better,
Abyssinia.
so let's say I like that one better, I can hit this plus icon to replace the data in here or fill it in. So that's a brand new feature, very excited about. Going forward from here, so we would just add these words to our research list, anything we want to research. Linda, great to hear you like that. We know people have been asking for it, so we're excited to present it.
And credit to our friend Adam Werner from Pronunciology for that suggestion. Really good idea.
Yeah, it was a bit of a light bulb moment. We're like, we have access to all these dictionaries. Let's put it all in one spot for you. Cool. So from here, so a lot of people will use this list. This will be the first pass, but a lot of narrators that I've talked to still want to read through the whole script to get familiar with everything. Also, they'll find words that maybe Positron didn't suggest. So there's two workflows. You can start with Positron or start with reading through it. But what I'd recommend is putting together a list when you do your own read through in a digital format, either in Excel or in a note or something like that, because you can add any word you want to Positron for the research functionality here. So I can add my name up here, just one at a time. I can add words. So I can add Johnny here. It found me in Merriam-Webster, so that's pretty cool. And then import export, this allows you to import a whole list of words. So if you copy and paste your own research, you paste it in this box here and hit the save button. So I'll just put some words in here, just some random words that came to my mind. I'm going to hit save. And all three of those words have been added at once. So it's found the pronunciations for all of those. Yeah, so a couple, depends on your workflow, but people tend to start with Positron with our suggested list and then add to it with whatever they find in their own read-throughs. Okay. One other thing to mention is when you have any word on your list, we give you some details about this word as well. So you can hover over this word to see where it's used in your script, get some context of how it's used. You can see the count of the word, so how many times it appears in your script, and the first occurrence of this word. So some details here. Now let me add a word. I'm going to try to find one that Positron can't find the pronunciation for. Let's see, Ancus. Let's try this. Okay, cool. So it did not find this pronunciation. So a couple of other things. Oh, actually, we have a question. Let me read that first. Can the add list function do two-word words, i.e. first and last name? Yes, absolutely. So when you're adding that, just separate them by a space. So if I wanted to do Johnny Freeman, now one thing to mention, I already have Johnny on the list. So if I add Johnny Freeman, my full name, it'll still add this, but it considers this a different word than just Johnny. So that's one thing to keep in mind when adding words to your pronunciation list.
Another thing to add to that is the count will only count if you add both words. It'll only count Johnny Freeman. So if the character is referenced as Johnny sometimes or Freeman is sometimes, those so that count will be specific to that exact thing.
Exactly. Yes. With AI, we have to be very, very specific. So those it can't tell Johnny is also Johnny Freeman without you telling it so. So great question. Thanks for that. Okay, so let's say back to this word here. So this came back with no phonetics. It has no recorded pronunciation. So nothing was found in Merriam-Webster. So the first thing I would do for words like this is to click this get alternate pronunciations list here just to check. Let's see if it's found in anything else. So it is found actually in Oxford. So I can listen to that.
Ancus.
That's great. So I'm going to hit the plus button and add that. Let's say it's not found in Oxford or any of our integrated dictionaries. Over on the right-hand side here, we have a number of other resources. So we do have links to all of our integrated dictionaries as well, but we have a few additional resources. So OneLook, Youglish, and How'd You Say. These are all really good pronunciation resources. You just click one of these links, it'll bring you right to that page. It's already looked up the word, it's already found the exact spot in the YouTube video where someone's saying the word. So we have some other last ditch efforts to help you with the pronunciation of these words. I'm going to pause there and see if there's anything else I should add. And if you have any questions, definitely add them in here. So we've gone over the research. So this is the automatic research functionality, the one-click links. Good. So moving forward, if there's no questions about that.
Johnny, did you go see Andrea's question in the chat? You may have
Did
already
not.
covered. Do these new features work with the basic subscription? And yes, they do. Just a reminder that script prep tools aren't part of the proofing package, so they are priced project by project. But yes, all of these new features, if you do a script prep, it doesn't matter if you're one of the big 5 publishers down to a narrator doing your first project, these are all available. Here's another question. So what if it can't find a word anywhere? Todd, I'm not sure exactly what you mean
I
by
think I get it. So if you exhaust all of our resources here and you can't find it in any of these one-click links, you can't find it online anywhere, at that point, we would go to collaboration or rely on your own skills of finding the pronunciation, and then you would actually record your own pronunciation. So this is a big thing I missed. Thanks for asking that, Todd. So if any of these words, perfect. So let's say we can't find it anywhere online. At this point, you want to find it somewhere. Maybe that's collaborating with a friend, or do your own research on places that we don't search by default. You can actually edit any of these words. So let's take Incus here, and you can record your own pronunciation here. So I can record my own once I found it somewhere else, or I can upload the pronunciation if I found it somewhere else as well. So this is the last point. You would just edit this word and manually enter a pronunciation for yourself. You can put in the phonetic spelling and a recording for you.
And just a reminder, everyone, please put your questions into the Q&A box. So click on Q&A, not the chat. Much easier for us to do that. Johnny, did you see Linda's question here? No worries, Peter. No need to apologize. Once you find the word in Youglish, how do you add that to the research list? So you just showed that.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing so let's say I'm going to look this up in Youglish. Let's see if it finds it. Looks like it did. So you would play this video, listen to the pronunciation. If that's a pronunciation you want to use, I'd recommend copying this URL, coming back to the pronunciation tab here, and then you hit this little microphone button to edit the word. You can record the pronunciation. I can put in my phonetic spelling here, and I can also put a link to Youglish right here and hit save. That'll make this little link button appear. So if I ever want to see the source of where I found this, I'd click that button. It'd bring me right to Youglish as well.
And just so everyone knows, we will go over the pricing later on at the end of this. So if you've got questions about that, don't worry, we will those. Another question from Melissa. For words you, Pozotron, cannot find, can you send them to the author for them to record the word?
That is a perfect segue. Thank you very much for the question, Melissa. So we've exhausted every resource here. We need to go to the author. Let's say it's a sci-fi word, and they made up this word, or they made up the character name, something like that. Let me move this out of the way. So there's a couple of options for collaboration. So first, you'd want to invite if you want them to actually come into your project and record a pronunciation for you, you'll want to hit this share button up in the top right, this blue share button, and you can add anyone you want to your project. It's totally free to add them. So I would add author at author.com. Obviously that's not real, but then I would give them a role here. So you can give them permissions. I recommend if you only want them to have access to your research, like you need them to come in and record words for you, just give them this role researcher. Um, if you have questions about the different permissions, we have a support article that you can just click here to look at them in detail. But this will give them access to your pronunciation guide, and then they can come in here and record. Another really cool new feature that helps with that is the ability to leave comments. So each of these words have a little comment feature now. So this is brand new, and I can say, hey, author, can you record this pronunciation for me? And put in an emoji, something like that, hit send. And this will put a little bubble, a little icon over the word, so they can see which of these words have comments on it. They'll also be able to see that there's no phonetics or no recorded pronunciation in here. And then they would be able to hit this microphone button and record their made up words for you. So I hope that answers your question. Another thing that to mention is sometimes authors will just send you recordings. They'll send you 10 recordings of 10 different words. So once again, you can upload these pronunciations here. You can also just import those. This is also a new feature, importing phonetic audio recordings. Clicking this, you upload the files that they sent you. They're short snippet recordings. As long as the file names of the recordings match the name of the word here, it will automatically populate it for you. So that's a tip as well. Kelly, I tried this and noted the person as researcher, but he never got the notification. Can you explain in what format does this person get notified for this? So when you add someone to your project, they will get an email sent to whatever email you put in here. It'll say, like if I invited Adam, it would say Johnny has invited you to this Pozotron project. It'll give the name of the project and everything and have a link for them to access the project. If they don't already have an account, they will have to create an account first before they can access the project, which there's a link for that in the email as well, if I'm not
And
mistaken.
if they didn't get the email, maybe in their junk mail or their spam filter, but it does come from studio.mg@positron.com.
Thanks, Adam. I actually didn't know that. Okay, good. No more questions. Thanks for all the questions. Oh, actually, there's another one. Is there a limit on how many individual audio clips can be uploaded at once? Also, same question for importing a text list of words. I don't think so.
There, so with the Excel file, I believe it's 200 at a time. How many individual audio clips? I'm not sure, but Cameron, I'll take that offline and send you an email about that. The reason that we do have limits is that when you add a word to our list, it does send the call to the API dictionary. So for example, Oxford, and we don't control the speed of their response. So if we add 1,000 words simultaneously, we're basically asking Oxford or Merriam-Webster, hey, give us these 1,000 pronunciations, and we essentially a project can time out not because of Positron, but because we just don't get a response fast enough from the API. But Cameron, I'll send you a follow-up email on the exact limits for each of those. But I believe if you're doing under 200, you'll be fine on all of those.
Yep.
And then Lillian, as an author, does an author have to pay for it? No. Anytime you share a project with someone, the only charge is to the owner of the project. So there is no charge for adding people to a project. It's the same price for having one person versus 1,000 people involved in the project. The reason they need to log into an account is obviously the IP, the script and audio and stuff is a very valuable thing. And so we don't want to open that up to the internet and have, someone download it and post it on Reddit or something like that. So that's why you do need to have that ability to log in.
Yep.
But no cost.
The build account, you can see the only person who would ever get billed is listed at the top here, and that's whoever created the project. So yes, they do not need to pay. If you want to share, last collaboration thing I'll mention here is sharing an online packet. So if you don't want them to actually come into Pozotron and make changes to your project and stuff, but you do want them to take a listen to your recordings, make sure they're good, you can share an online packet here, which is another share option right here. This will create a URL that you can copy and send to them. So if I go to this web page, this is just a read-only version of my pronunciation guides. We can see all the words, we can listen to the recordings, but we can't make any changes. So this is a good just get approval and move on, but they don't need to make an account or any of that stuff. Great. Okay, moving on because we have a lot to cover. If you have any more questions about this though, definitely let us know. It's what we're here for. So moving on to the character guide. So this is our other prep tool where we are going to take a look at all of the different characters in your book. We're going to try to put together a list for you. And with our new features, we're actually going to try to research the characters for you, which I'm really excited to show you how that works today. But there's a lot of different aspects of the character voice guide. You can upload photos, and looks like we have one more question. So are you saying that if we invite them as a researcher, by default, they'll have access to our recordings? Yes, they will have access to, it's really what tabs they can access up here is the main thing. So they'll be able to access the pronunciation guide and the character guide with the researcher role, but they wouldn't have access to proofing, for example. So if you uploaded all of your chapter recordings, they would not have access to this.
And if anyone else has questions about permissions, I'll just post something into the chat here. That'll show you a breakdown of exactly what role, what people can do with each permission role.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, so I'm just going to hop into the character guide and show you all of these things. So the character guide is another tab up here. If we come here again, you'll be greeted with this open suggestions button. So we've scanned the book, but this time looking for characters and character names. So if I hit open suggestions here, we can see this is the Jungle Book. As we've found Mowgli, we found Shere and Shere Khan here. We found all the different characters in the book. And I think I'll show our new feature first. So if you look at our suggestions list, you'll see some of these options here have an AI tag and some of them don't. So the AI tag is really, really cool. So essentially this means Positron has also scanned and found descriptions of this character in your script. So cues of how they're described. And if they have the AI tag and I add it to my character guide, and I return to my research. So Rikki Tikki, looks like it didn't find anything for this one. So let me find another example for you. And this is our beta. This is our beta showing of this tool here. So let me add this one here. Come back to research. And it's not showing it. It was literally just where you can always count on software, as Adam says, to not work when you're showing people. Let's see, let's try one more time here. All right, so I think I have an issue with my particular project. Let's see here, I'm in Jungle Book.
Johnny, I can share a project that I know works.
Yeah, let me let you share your screen then.
No. I'll just share the project with webinars. Give me 1 second here.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay, but just to talk about our character guide, this is the base functionality of it. So when you add a character to your list, you'll be given an opportunity to put in information about this character. So let me add someone like Mowgli here, main character that I actually know about. So this is what it'll look like with finished research. I actually have Mowgli saved to my account, which I'm going to show you shortly of how to add characters to your custom character guide, which essentially saves them for future use. But see, Mowgli here has a photo. It's got aliases. So this is the other ways the character will be referred to in the script. Then this box here is for character description. So who is this character? You can put appearance notes in here, things like that. And then their voice notes, so what they sound like. So we can put in some voice notes here, as well as a recording of this character. So you can actually record up to 30 seconds of yourself speaking in this character's voice and save it to Positron to have a reference in the future.
Johnny, if you go back into your projects, there should be a Jungle Book 4 webinar project. There you go. And if you add Mowgli, Shere Khan, a few others, it'll auto-populate.
All right. Add Mowgli here. Okay, good. So these are some of the details that Pozotron found without any help. So we can see it's pulled in the gender here. It's also pulled in some descriptions of their voice. You can see he's got a clear voice, boyish, and loud. So it's a great starting point to see where in the book this voice has been described. We heard stories from narrators where they narrated 6 hours of an audiobook and then they found out that the character actually had an accent the entire time. It talks about them being from Ireland or something. So these notes will get pulled in just by adding them to your list. Let me try another one here. Let's add Shere Khan. Okay, growling, menacing, and snarly. So it's grabbing these descriptions from the script. And going forward, right now this only works on characters with the AI tag. Going forward, we are going to have a button to do an additional scan for a particular word. So if the AI tag is not on Kala, for example, we'll be able to rescan it, make sure that we didn't miss anything. So you can actually manually do this as well on any character that you want. Okay, well, thanks, Adam, for saving the day. Oh,
No problem at all. Only other thing is if you do click on the name Mowgli as well, next release of this tool is going to allow you to, on the left, it's currently only showing 5 examples, but we are going to be curating a really descriptive list of those characters, of those character descriptions from the book as well.
very cool.
Give you even more details that you can pull from the script.
So we really want to give you a snapshot of who this character is like right away. And that's what we are working on making better for you. All right, let's see if there's anything I'm missing on the character guide, voice samples, sharing and collaboration. So all the sharing tools I showed you on the pronunciation guide are the same for the character voice guide. I can share them. Oh, we got questions rolling in. So Julia says, can we update a script that is already in a project? Yes, as long as you have not uploaded any audio to the proofing section here, you can change the script by hitting this little button right here to upload a new manuscript. It'll reprocess it, it'll research it, it'll keep all of your notes that you've already got in here, but any new information will get pulled in. But
And
if you, oh, go ahead.
one other thing to note there. So in the example of if you've got a prep script and then you get your final recordable script, if you've gone through, Johnny, can you open up pronunciation? If you've gone through and cleared all of your suggestions, so either if you open up suggestions, if you do add or ignore on all of them, and so you show 0 suggestions remaining, and then upload your new script, your final script, Pozotron will rescan your script and only give you suggestions for things that are new in the final script that weren't in the prep script. So if they add in a word, abracadabra, for example, that wasn't in the prep script, you can then, it'll just show you the new things in the final recordable script. But again, only if you first, before you upload your final script, you clear your entire suggestions list. And then Kelly Wilkinson, that I'm assuming by that feature you mean the AI cues pulled from the book. That's already in production. So if you see when you open up your suggestions list on the character side of things, if you see that AI tag, it'll automatically pull those. However, only for books processed through Pozotron before. Give me a second here. Or sorry, after
This Wednesday?
No, I believe after April 9th. So for a script, for a project that was created before April 9th, it won't exist because we hadn't released that feature. So as part of the scan of your manuscript when you upload it, it would not have been done. So you just have to have that project created after April 9th, April 10th. And that should be live. And if it's not, send us a link and we can look into it.
Yep, I was about to say, and if you get what happened to me here, I know how to fix this. It's just doing it live on a webinar. It takes 5 or 10 minutes. So, but if this happens, let us know. We can make it so this works for you. Thanks for the questions. Looks like we have another one. For characters, did I understand correctly that only those characters listed as AI will have descriptions and more information? Yes. So without the currently that is the case. We are looking to change that going forward where you can manually rescan a word that doesn't have the AI tag to find any of those details. But currently, yes, you'll have to have this AI tag for those cues to be pulled. Great question. Okay, I'm going to move on because we're halfway through and we have a lot of slides left. But if you have any more questions, let us know. Love the questions. Okay, so exporting a marked up script. This is really, really handy. So after you've done all of your research in Pozotron, all the character data here, all of the words on your pronunciation list, you can export a marked up script using this button right here. I'm actually just going to move this away. So export a mark script. This is for people who like to highlight their scripts, highlight characters, and we can actually use the data that you've put into your project to make these highlights a little bit better for you, to have notes attached to them. So when you export a marked up script, you tell Positron what settings you want. So if you want all the research, if you only want pronunciation or the character guide, if you want to mark up all occurrences of this word. So the word Abyssinia, for example, you could highlight only the first occurrence of it in your script, or every single time that word appears in your script, it'll be highlighted. And the data to include will include the phonetics, so whatever phonetic spelling you have here, a link to the recorded pronunciation. You can also include for characters their aliases, their character description, voice notes, and the recording of their voice sample. So if I hit export mark script, that will download a new PDF for me. And I'm just going to do Control F and find Mowgli. So we can see that Mowgli's already been highlighted, and this has actually been marked up a couple of times. So there's words on here highlighted that weren't in my project. But if I click on Mowgli, this will also bring up a comment on the right side showing me the phonetic spelling. If I have a recording, it'll have a link to that recording as well. So all the words on your pronunciation list will be highlighted in this yellow color, and anything on your uh, character guide, will be highlighted in blue. These will have your, let me find actually a better example. Let's find Shere Khan. Let's see, is he on my, no, he's not, Shere Khan. It's not on my pronunciation list actually, so that's not going to show up, but it'll show all of the voice notes as well. Let's see if I can find a better example of Mowgli for you. Do-do-do. Okay, so this one's highlighted in green because it was actually on the character list and the pronunciation list. So blue and yellow makes green. But we can see all of the voice notes, the description of Mowgli. So all of that's going to show up here in your script. Depending on what PDF reader you have, like in Chrome, all you have to do is hover over the word and it will show you those voice notes for you. But in Adobe Acrobat, it shows it up here.
And
Uh,
another question here,
mhm.
someone who uses iAnnotate, if you import the PDF into iAnnotate, yes, I'm 99% sure, because I know that people who do this, that will go into iAnnotate as well.
Yes, Kelly, great question. A lot of people use iAnnotate for their prep. So we recommend if you're going to use iAnnotate to use us first, because we'll put all of those notes in there, and then you bring it over to iAnnotate, add your additional markups for dialogue and stuff. So that's a really handy feature if you mark up your script and get a head start using our marked up script tool there. What about Notability? I'm not sure. Have to look into Notability. Adam, do you know Notability?
I don't, if you're just importing a PDF though into Notability, I'm not familiar with that. I would assume it works, but try
Mm-hmm.
it out. Let us know.
As long as comments appear, because we put the data in comments, and that's where that data is stored. So as long as there's a comment feature in Notability, it should work as well. But I'd have to take it with a grain of salt. Never use Notability. Kelly, thanks. Yeah, let us know if that works for you. That'd be really helpful. Thank you. Okay, moving on from the marked up script. So transfer research. This is a functionality for managing different projects, especially if you're working on a series of audiobooks. This feature can help out a lot. So this allows you to transfer all entries from one project to another. So for example, I am in the Jungle Book. So this thing is always in the way. If I go to import export and I hit transfer research, it'll bring up a list of all of my other projects in Pozotron. And we can see that there's an option here for the second Jungle Book. I'm actually going to open that up first. Second Jungle Book right here. I actually wasn't aware that there was a second Jungle Book until recently, but if you come into the pronunciation tab, you can see it's empty. There's no research been done on this project. So I'm going to go back to the first one, go back to my pronunciation list, hit import export, transfer research, and the second Jungle Book. We're going to transfer this to that. So it transferred 8 words. Let me go back to this project. And lovely. So we can see that all of these words have been added in, and it's actually re-scanning these words to see what the count is, where the first occurrence is, all of those details it's going to pull in here. Now, it'll also, for the most part, ignore any words that don't reappear on your second project. You can see that it did refine, a couple of these words. A cup is actually in there. Interesting, but it is showing these words here. So this is a great way for you to pull all your hard-earned research on the first project into the second one. You can also do this with your characters here. So let me come back in here, go to the character guide. You do have to do these separately. So transfer research from the pronunciation research and then the character guide. It's the same process though. You just pick whatever project you want to transfer this to. So I'll hit transfer as well. So 5 words have been transferred. So it transferred everything on my list here and it rescans it. So you can see if any words in the next project show 0, they should be ignored, but if they're not, then you know that
No,
these.
you have to click the little eye icon to ignore them.
Oh, good to know. Okay, so if I come into the second Jungle Book, go to characters.
The eye icon should be, what is it?
I think it's in open suggestions here. Show research and ignored. Let
No,
me turn that off. No?
no, go back.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it's only on the pronunciation guide. Oh, go to the pronunciation guide. Yeah, eye icon on the far
Oh,
right.
right here it is. So we need to add this
We
to the
actually don't
character
have that.
guide.
Interesting. We don't have that for the character guide. All
Very
right.
interesting. But clicking that, this is by default off. So when you transfer words to the next project, usually all the 0 count words will just be hidden. So it only shows you the relevant words, the words that reappear in the second book that you need to pay attention to. But you can turn that back on to see all of these words with the count of 0 as well. So if you work on book 1, a year later you're working on book 2, you have to remember who all these characters are, what all these words are. You can just transfer it over and it'll show you all of that relevant information. Great. Okay, moving on then. So another project management tool kind of for managing all the characters and pronunciations in your projects. We have custom dictionaries and a custom guide your uh, for your entries. So you can save characters and pronunciations for future use. You don't have to transfer them to a project. You can actually just save them to your account. So this is a fairly new feature. So if I come to my profile settings, you go to your email up in the top right, hit profile. You'll see 2 tabs here for the pronunciation dictionary and character guide. So I'm going to open these up. These are words that I have saved to my account. A lot of these are from the Jungle Book as well. If I go to the character list, I'll see these are all the characters that I've researched, I've recorded voices for, all their details, and I've saved them. If I wanted to then come in and use them in a particular project, I'm going to come to my character guide, another import export feature down at the bottom. So if you can add characters, so this will take all the characters from your current project and put them into your saved account. Or I can actually pull those from my account to this project. So if I add all the characters here, I'm going to hit add all. We can see Bagheera, Baloo, and Shere Khan have all been added to this project. So this is really useful. I talked to one narrator who kind of likes to use similar voices across different projects as well. So maybe he did a voice for Mowgli that also fits a character in another project he's working. He'll just pull that character into this project here to have that recorded voice and the voice notes of how he wants to perform this new character. So a couple of different ways to use it there. Looks like we have another question. Coming back to exporting markups to PDF, I already have a PDF in iAnnotate and have done markups, and I import that into Pozotron. I assume those markups done in iAnnotate as well as in Pozotron will stay once I import it again to iAnnotate. So all of the highlights, the notes and stuff that you put in iAnnotate, if you import that into Pozotron, we do not recognize those highlights. We don't recognize any of those notes, but iAnnotate will recognize all of our notes that we put in the script, which is why we recommend you start in Pozotron, export the mark script to iAnnotate, and then additionally mark it up from there, if that makes
But
sense.
yeah, and if you're importing, I annotate back out to a PDF into Positron and then back out, as long as the Positron won't remove the comments from the PDF, so that should be just fine. If you use book 1 and 2 for proofing only, but you're going to use this tool for book 3, are there any retro info stores AI pop? No, so any of the tools you're seeing are only working on the existing script in your project, Linda. So if I understand that correctly, that customer character descriptions tool, I apologize, with the AI tag would not search other scripts. It just searches that one script. So to do that, you would likely need to, if you wanted to search, for example, how Johnny is described in all 3 books, you would actually have to combine book 1, 2, and 3 into a single PDF document and then upload it that way.
That's a great idea. Yeah, just combine them all in there. Even if you were going to use that project for proofing, you just proof the 3rd book, and it doesn't matter if the previous books are in that script. It wouldn't have any negative side effects. So that's a great idea. Okay, so one thing on these dictionaries, custom character guide and custom pronunciation dictionary, your account-wide storage of entries. If you want to add all words, you can do so from this import export. You can transfer all of these words from my list to the pronunciation dictionary. You don't need to do that though. You can hit this little plus icon, and this will add this particular word, save it to your account. You can use that going forward. And I think with the pronunciation dictionary, it's incredibly valuable because you can kind of accumulate your own database after you do a few different projects in Positron. If you transfer all of the words at the end of your project or all of the important words to your pronunciation dictionary, the next time these words come up in any project you use, when you add it to a research list, it will pull automatically the saved pronunciations you have already. So if a word isn't found in Merriam-Webster or any of these dictionaries, you can kind of accumulate your own positron vocabulary. It's a very, very handy tool there. All right, any questions on that, let us know, but we'll move forward to our scan occurrences tool.
And just one quick question: is there a way to sort characters by chapter? No, not currently, Jack. That is coming in future, but there's many reasons why it's not available yet, but that is coming in future.
Thanks very much, Adam.
Can you make
Dana.
multiple dictionaries, Dana? I'm assuming you mean custom pronunciation dictionaries. No, but I know your use case on your side, so I can easily help you with that. Just reach out and book a call using the normal call link for next week, and we'll just need to structure your account a little bit differently, but we can help you with that. So send me an email. You're
Very
welcome.
cool. You're the best, Adam. Okay, great. So scan occurrences, this is not really a prep tool, but it is included in the script prep tool package. So when you use pronunciation guide or character guide, you also get access to this. And this is a really, really great tool if you need it. So for a disaster project fix, let's say you pronounced the main character's name wrong throughout your 15-hour audiobook, and you have to find every single time that you said this character's name and fix it. Scan occurrences will save you a ton of time. You can also use this to check for consistency. Any word that you're not sure on, you can listen back to every instance of this word in all of your audio files. And I'll show you a couple of ways to help you fix this going forward. So I need to go to a project where there is audio. So I'm going to come in here. Looks like there is audio. So this is searching your audio files. Once you've uploaded them for proofing, I'm going to go to the scan occurrences tool here. By default, anything on your pronunciation list will get pulled in here. But let's say I wanted to search the main character's name, Sherlock. I just scanned it. You can see it add to the list, and it found it 6 times in our audio. So I'm going to hit the scan button, which will show me each individual time, but it also allows me to listen to these back to back to back. So after
Chapter
it's done
1.
loading,
Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
so these are all the different times that Sherlock was said. I can listen to each one of these by clicking on them and then hitting the play button. Let's say in the first instance, the third instance, and the fifth, I mispronounced Sherlock, or the narrator did, and I need to fix these. So you just select it by hitting that little checkbox on the left-hand side. There's two buttons up here. One is to annotate them, which will mark it as, oh, there's my face in the way again, which will mark it as a pickup in the proofing tool. You can add a custom note here. So this was found by Scan Occurrences. It's going to have that tag on it automatically. And you can leave this checkbox on to mark these annotations as pickups automatically. And let's say you are going to be uploading more audio after this. You can also annotate new instances of this. So like in the next audio file I uploaded, if Sherlock is found again, it'll automatically put an annotation on it. So I'm going to click that, and it annotated 3 out of 6 occurrences. If I just need to fix this right away, and I don't need to mark it as a pickup, I can hit this export occurrences markers locations. Bit of a mouthful, but what this means is you can download markers for whatever DAW you're working in. This will download a file that you then import into your DAW, and it puts a marker exactly where Sherlock is mentioned in your raw audio file. So you can go record over it, record the correct pronunciation, and make those fixes. So for certain projects, if you need to find 300 instances of a word, this can cut down the time it takes to do that dramatically. So this is also included in the script prep package. Anything to add there, Adam?
Nope, you covered it perfectly.
Thank you very much. Okay, so which DAWs are, oh, we're getting questions in. So let me answer this. Todd, which DAWs are in there? So it's the same DAWs that are available in our proofing section. These are all the main, actually, it looks a little bit shorter. There might be
It
something
is
missing from
interesting. Yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah. I'll add that to GitHub. But if you want to just go back and show the weird.
That is weird.
Well, that's why we do these webinars. Even we're learning things about things.
Oh, what am I doing? Okay, DAW markers. So here is the full list. So we'll find out which one's missing from the other interface, but these are all of the DAWs here. There should be all of the main ones on the market. If you use something different, let us know. We're always happy to expand this list.
And just so you know, the one that we have never been able to integrate, yes, Melissa Studio One is on there. You can see MIDI markers Studio One, but Logic, unfortunately, they import markers as actually embedded into the audio file. So that's a big, complicated one. Also, one thing to note, your access to certain DAWs depends entirely on your subscription. So I will post a link there to show which are available at each level. But if you're on the pay-as-you-go subscription and you want access to all of them, or Pro Tools, for example, or just everything other than Pro Tools, we have additional, and you don't want to upgrade your subscription, we can add those on into your account for an additional PFH cost. But if you are interested, please send us an email.
And Audacity is always included. So no matter what you're on, you can always export for Audacity. For any of the other ones, if you have a particular question, just let us know and we'll hook you up. More questions.
Okay, so we answered Todd's. Kelly, I'm looking to see if Pozotron can be used as a repository for characters and voices. So yes, that's exactly it. If you go back into the character guide, that's where you're creating those samples.
Yep, so you can import your existing characters as well. So if you have characters in an Excel sheet or anything like that, you can create them either by importing, or you can add them here. So I could add Adam Fritz and put that in here. I would put the details for who Adam Fritz is. Great guy, sounds like honey and milk, and then put a impersonation recording of him. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. But you could put in all the details of this character and then actually save it to your account. So that's this custom character guide button. So this would go right into your account. It'd be saved and be able to use on any project you ever use in Pozotron going forward.
And Kelly, I see you have a bunch more questions. I would actually suggest go into your Pozotron account. Johnny, if you go to your main page here.
Yeah.
Click on that book a video demo. So let's book a video demo. We can take this offline and run you through all your questions individually. And that goes for anyone else. If you ever have any questions, please go ahead and use that
Please
tool.
do. It's a lonely button. It needs more attention, and that's what we're here for, is to hop on calls and help you with your workflows.
And Peter, I would suggest the same thing. If you've got specific, hey, my workflow questions, please either email us, use the Get Help button at the top and ask that question, or book a video demo with us, because we are running out of time here. So Peter Aronson, please do reach out to us by email and we can give you a customized response back.
Yep, very happy to do so. Okay, I think that actually might be, we're close on time, but that's a good thing. That means there's lots of questions. So appreciate the questions. Upcoming feature releases. Adam, do you want to talk about these? Let everybody know.
All right, Julia Simpson, pay close attention because you've been very diligent at asking this exact question. We are building a dialogue detector. So that is using that same large language model to say, you can tell Pozotron, okay, I want to see every line of dialogue for Sherlock Holmes. There will be a lot of tweaking to this tool, but the idea is a couple things. One, you can use that to read all 200 lines of dialogue for Sherlock and see if you can pull additional cues for how to act it. But then also that will enable you to automatically highlight all lines of Sherlock's dialogue in pink and all lines of Watson's dialogue in green, for example. So there's a lot of cool things going on there. And then once we do that, you'll also be able to use scan occurrences to listen to all lines of dialogue in your actual recordings, just to make sure you've done consistent, a consistent voice, for example, for that character. So really exciting there. As I mentioned, we will be continually improving the character descriptions tool, like the ability to tell Pozotron, hey, the AI tag isn't included on Johnny Freeman's character in a book, so please, pull the cues out for this character, as well as other improvements will be coming there. Well, I just did scan occurrences and character dialogue, so I can skip over that one. Really exciting there. The ability in the export mark script to customize colors, for example, and other things. It'll be really, really a good opportunity to, the idea is, quite frankly, that you're never going to have to manually mark up a script again. So, there are things that AI is good at and things that AI is not perfect at. The manual task of marking up a script is definitely something that we can automate and speed up for you. So, a lot of different customizations. And then the one that I'm actually most excited about is the integration between script prep and proofing. So, for example, you will be able to go into a book on the proofing side of things. Actually, Johnny, could you open up proofing?
Mm-hmm. Let's go into here.
So, for example, you would be able to, let's say, or actually go into a different chapter. That's a work of fiction. Like Sherlock Holmes would be perfect. So let's say, for example, well, Watson, what do you make of it? So I'm guessing that is in Sherlock's voice. You would be able to click and highlight that text, click a little button, a pop-up will come up, and you can say, add this as a sample of Sherlock's voice. So you'd be able to take cues for the pronunciation and character guides from the audio you've actually recorded and automatically import that into the script prep tools. And then the flip side of it is you'll also be able to, when you're doing proofing, click a button that says, show me all the words on my pronunciation list. So in your proofing, it'll actually highlight all the pronunciation words. So when you're proofing, you can say, okay, I need to pay extra attention to character names or the complex names you've added, and make sure that you or the narrator, if you're not on the narration side of things, to make sure that the pronunciations match what they are in the pronunciation guide. And the ability to actually click play and listen to what was in the pronunciation guide, and then listen to what is in your recording. So that integration going both ways, from proofing to script prep and from script prep to proofing, I think will really tie your pre-production and post-production work together.
Very exciting. I think, Linda, actually, you talked about previous projects that you worked on, book 1, book 2, you now want to use it on book 3. This would also help in finding the character voices that you used in the other books and saving them to your character guide and things like that.
Dana, good question. When will those features be available? My very, very precise answer is it depends. Dialogue detector is currently being worked on, so my hope is that a beta version gets released next month. Character descriptions tool will continually be updated. Scan occurrences and character dialogue is a ways away, as is export marked up script, I believe. But the script prep integrations, I know we are working on that currently. So at least a few of these are going to start coming out next month. One thing, Johnny, if you can open up your Pozotron project as well, and go back to the main page. You see that view latest feature releases button? We generally do releases new software releases every 2 weeks, most of the time on Wednesdays. But please keep an eye on that. You will see as we release new big features, we will almost always send an email newsletter announcement. So if you are not receiving those and you would like to, please send us an email to hello@pozotron.com. You may have unsubscribed in past or something like that. We can add you to that list. But also keep an eye on that view latest feature releases, because the really exciting stuff we release, we always announce on that page.
Great. Well, it is 2:01, so we're over. I know we planned to go over the pricing, so I'm happy to go a little bit longer. No,
Perfect.
if anybody needs to leave, then that's fine. But I'm going to open up the pricing here so you can know what to expect when using the script prep tools. So you can always see this on our support page or on our pricing website. I'm just going to pull up the pricing support article here. There's one, script preparation tools pricing. So it's very straightforward. Unlike our proofing tool where you're paying per hour of audio that you upload, different prices depending on what subscription you're on, script prep is a one-time flat fee to use it on a project. So it's project by project, basically script per script. You upload one script to the project and you'll be able to use all of our tools. So when you pay for our script prep tools on the pay-as-you-go plan, it's $14, and that gives you access to the pronunciation guide, the character guide, and the scan occurrences tool, all to be used as much as you want in that project for that flat fee. And it gets slightly cheaper on the other plans as well. So Smart Rollover is $12.50, and the Narrator plan is $12 to add these tools on. And this is a la carte, so you can use it on some projects. You can not use it on other ones. It's totally up to you. But if you have any questions about that, then definitely let us know. And with that, I think that's a wrap. Actually, we have one more slide. Oh, Pronunciology. We actually missed a new
We
feature.
did. Oh, yeah. So
A big one.
For any of you users of Adam Berner's Pronunciology, which did close down operations last month, I believe, we are working with Adam on adding a bunch of new features because he had a ton of great suggestions. We have also acquired the 94,000 pronunciation entries from Pronunciology, and we will be adding that as a searchable dictionary, just like the other API dictionaries as well. Oh, and Emma would like to say we also announced many of our new releases on social media. So please follow us. You can see our social media links on our homepage. But as for Pronunciology, you will soon be able to call that dictionary, which is 94,000 entries text only, but many of them are very specific proper names and Latin terms and medical terms and all that kind of stuff. So very exciting. And thanks to Adam for working with us.
Awesome. Oh, I guess we had a couple of more slides here. If you need help, you can definitely reach out to us via email. Our feature request link is right here. It's on our support page that I just showed you, which you can get to by support.pozotron.com. And submitting support tickets is very easy. I'm not even logged into Pozotron anymore, but this Get Help button up here is the best way to get in touch with us on any help, or just use the book a video demo here. We're happy to help you there. But it's already 4 minutes past, so I'll end it there. Sorry for holding you hostage so long on a Friday, but I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for using Pozotron.
Thanks. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Jack. We appreciate it. Really appreciate you joining, Jack. And Julian, everybody. All right, I'll be closing it down. Thank you so much. And as soon as I figure out how to end it, actually. All right, take care.